Hello there. Welcome to the Dr. Grant Show. Today's topic, hypnosis, the truth about it. Have you ever wanted to lose weight, but you've tried so many things and nothing just really ever worked? And you're really tired of feeling bad about yourself. You want to try something new, but you're so tired of all the past failures. And you know, in the back of your mind, it's hard to keep weight off once you've lost it. Most people who usually lose weight, they gain it back in less than 5 years, which is why it's so important to find a strategy that works for you in your specific time and chapter of your life. Our show topic today, we're going to cover how using hypnosis can help you lose weight in a healthy way. It doesn't involve starving yourself. It doesn't involve a feast famine cycle. We're also going to be covering myths that will help you understand more about hypnosis. Here are our top 4 myths about hypnosis. Number 1, hypnosis is mind control. Number 2, hypnosis will put you to sleep. Number 3, hypnosis isn't for Christians or those who believe in God. And finally, hypnosis, it has no scientific value. All right, are you ready? If you've been wanting to know more about hypnosis, but you want the truth, you want something that's scientifically valid, you're going to enjoy this show. So let's get into the first topic, a myth. Hypnosis is mind control. I want to dispel this myth so badly, and here's the reason why, with one simple statement. If hypnosis is mind control, there would be a lot of hypnotherapists on an island, stinking filthy rich, if hypnosis were mind control. So clearly it isn't. There would also be no complaints of wives asking or significant others asking for their significant others, for example, to lower the toilet seat. If hypnosis was mind control. So can we suffice to say now that hypnosis, if it were mind control, well, let's just simply say hypnosis is it's not mind control at all. Okay. Second, hypnosis, it will put you to sleep. All right. So this part is interesting because a lot of times when people talk about hypnosis putting you to sleep, it's because of the fact that you feel just so very, very, very relaxed. And the reason why people that are hypnotized feel so relaxed is because hypnosis puts you into something called a trance. Now, there are various levels of being in a trance. You can be in a light trance, a medium trance, or a deep trance. Either way, a trance is nothing more than being in a deep state of relaxation or a deep state of concentration. That's all it is. And because when you emerge from a hypnosis session, you're feeling so very, very relaxed, not to mention positive, happier, a feeling of whatever the problem was that you came to your hypnotist for is actually overcomable and achievable. Well, this sure is a huge shot in the arm for making you feel awfully good. Yeah? Okay. So this is the reason why people may say they feel like hypnosis or have concerns about hypnosis just putting you to sleep. But allow me to say this. According to scientific studies, hypnosis just shifts your brain waves. Right now, as you are listening to this show, your brain is currently in what's called beta waves. In hypnosis, your brain shifts and it drops down from beta to alpha to brain wave, which is delta. But for the sake of this, and also to make it absolutely easier and simpler, we're just going to keep it in the top 3 brain waves. There are actually 5 brain waves: gamma, beta, alpha, theta, and delta. But as you're functioning, as you're just chatting with someone at the local cafe, if you're a parent, you're talking to your kids, for example, your brain is currently in beta. And feel free to type anything in the chat or send me a direct message or send me a text at this number below, especially if you are a person that is struggling with emotional eating, food addiction, obesity, weight loss. You've tried over and over and your results have not been what you imagined. So feel free to drop a text over here at this number that's listed below, or you can log on to our website, which is edibleaddiction.com. So back to that sleep, back to the brain waves. As we're chatting, like I said before, your brain is in beta. When you're in deep concentration, your brain will shift from beta to alpha. When you're going into hypnosis and we're looking at retooling, recoding your brain, your subconscious mind, your brain switches over into beta. Beta is where that magic happens. And like I said before, it is nothing more than just an intense feeling of concentration. If you've ever been the kind of person that you found yourself to be in the zone, for example, you're working on a project and you just feel this synchronicity, this high, this good feeling, this feeling of almost invincibility. Think back to a time, an exact moment where you were just really, totally, completely, unapologetically the fullest expression and version of yourself. That, my friends, is when you were flying in that alpha state. And theta state is just that twilight state, just before you drift off to sleep. Theta state is where your subconscious mind is finally open. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the subconscious mind versus the conscious mind is your front runner. If you are a sports fanatic, a football fanatic, and I'm not, so forgive me if I butcher this reference, but the conscious mind is your front runner. It is your quarterback. It's taking all the hits for everything. When you say you're going to go on that diet, for example, when you say you're going to go vegan like a famous celebrity, you're going to try it for 12 weeks, your conscious mind is saying, yeah, let's go. And it's getting rid of all those reasons and tackling all the tempting ideas that you might have to go out, for example, and get something that wasn't on your list in that first week or that second week of your dive into veganism and following your favorite celebrity, for example. But the subconscious mind is that defense that comes up from behind and tackles the quarterback at around week 3 and week 4 with tons of rationale, tons of reason as to the reason why you shouldn't go vegan. Remember the last time you tried any diet, any healthier behavior, remember what happened, and then it will flash across the screen, the movie screen of your mind, various scenarios where you tried something and failed, and then it grabs a hold of something called in psychology your self-efficacy as well. And self-efficacy is your ability to believe that you can accomplish whatever you have set out in front of you. So let's say, for example, you met with your doctor, or let's say, for example, you contemplate bariatric surgery. You've met with your bariatric surgeon, but then you back out of the appointment, or you don't go to the doctor's appointment because you remember the last time you spoke with your doctor about your weight. They recommend things that you tried before, but the habit didn't stick. That's your unconscious mind that's not in congruent agreement with you, and therefore it tells your conscious mind and it whispers to it, I know we said we were going to work out today. I know this is a great idea. It really is. Can we let's start tomorrow. Let's start the workout tomorrow. I think that's really that's better. Who wants to start a fresh workout on Monday? These are bad days to start workouts. Has that ever happened to you? You're driving home after you finally returned to the office, and You're driving past a fast food place that you swore you wouldn't touch. And the next thing you know, you're driven through the driveway and you grabbed two of the things that you said you had zero of. And there goes that aspiration of becoming like your favorite celebrity and going vegan. It's your subconscious mind that's at work. Family, relatives, and they've upset you. And the next thing you know, you find yourself eating a pint of ice cream before you get back on the phone with them again. Subconscious mind at work. I could give you a litany, a litany of examples, and that just wouldn't quit. But I'm certain, especially in my visual wellness practice, I've come across so many experiences and journeys, and I love helping people get to the root of and identify what it is, and energetically snip, completely snip the ties that bind. Let me get into number 3, our third myth. Hypnosis isn't for Christians or those that believe in God. I was surprised when I encountered this in a forum and at a speaking engagement that I was commissioned to go to. It was a myth that I hadn't come across actually in quite some time. I have been studying and training in these various areas of what we call energetic psychology for 20 years before making the love affair and romance official. So I have been around long enough to see 20 years ago, maybe even 30 years, where even psychology was looked at as quackery or woo-woo, and it was lumped in a category with yoga. It was lumped in a category with acupuncture. It was lumped in the category with chiropractic medicine. But that was 30 years ago. The reality is none of these things are what's called woo-woo. None of these things are what would be called in league with a offensive, negative, dark force, because hypnosis has tons of scientific validity. The other thing that I want you to remember, if you are a person that is, from back in my days in church, God-fearing, there's nothing about hypnosis at all that is not for you. If you wish to solve your problem, if you're serious about solving your problem, if you want to solve your problem, but I will say this, hypnosis by itself, although very effective, it is even more powerful when coupled up with someone that is a trained practitioner, also someone that is trained in psychology and various psychological approaches. And here's the reason why. Hypnosis, when coupled up in these various areas with a trained clinical hypnosis and hypnotherapist, with someone that's got a psychological background, and even more powerful when we couple it up with sound therapy and a sound bath. What it does is that it helps shift your brain from beta, alpha to theta, the area where the subconscious mind lives, where true change can take place much, much faster. The psychological aspects, such as EFT tapping, which is called emotional freedom technique, also proven to be scientifically valid. Hypnosis, also proven to be scientifically valid. Yoga, also proven to be scientifically valid in the areas of weight loss, anxiety, symptoms of depression. Once again, especially for my doctor friends that are out there, my MDs, my DOs, my DCs, my PhDs, my psychologists. It's evidence-based. But here's the thing. I would never recommend in a million years to use hypnosis alone to replace a doctor's form of treatment. Hypnosis is a superb complement to, especially if you're under a doctor's care for a specific health ailment, it's a perfect complement to that regimen. All right, so hopefully that begins to clear some things up. Once again, to recap on if you're a person that is God-fearing, for example, or if you believe in God or some higher power, and you've been on the fence about hypnosis because you're confused and concerned as to whether or not you can partake upon this service, it has no connection whatsoever to the netherworld. It's just simply a very good scientific approach for those that are interested in and also tired, very weary of past scientific approaches, past approaches failing, or even just good old fashioned willpower failing, then hypnosis would definitely be for you, which allows me to. I'm so excited about uber excited about this in more ways than you will ever know, to dovetail into the science about hypnosis. That's all right, let's go. So the fourth myth is that hypnosis has zero goose egg scientific validity. Yes. So I gave you a wee bit of a sneak preview when we dovetail and attack myth number 3, but let's get specific with the science behind this. If you were to look in peer-reviewed journals, those are research journals written by scientists and researchers, you're going to find hordes and hordes and hordes of research studies that talk about hypnosis. I want to cite specific studies to you. The first study has been published by the Obesity Society, called The Effects of Self-Conditioning Techniques, Self-Hypnosis in Promoting Weight Loss in Patients with Severe Obesity in a Randomized Controlled Trial. What it found is habitual hypnosis users showed a greater weight loss, and people that use self-hypnosis experience greater satiety. So no matter which way you're struggling in terms of your weight loss and trying to lose fat, being satiated, not having a desire to overeat and give into food cravings and binges, you can disconnect that, you wind up losing weight. The second journal is the Journal of Clinical Psychology. It included 109 subjects over the course of 9 weeks. They experienced a significant weight reduction. And here's the kicker: a 2-year follow-up. After the study was conducted, those study participants continued to lose weight. Number 3, third journal, the Journal of Consulting and Clinical Psychology. 60 women, hypnosis worked. But there's a nuance. That's the reason why I picked this study, because I really wanted to dive deeper and give you the science behind and the truth about hypnosis. Now, I picked this study because it illuminated something that was very interesting that I actually didn't see coming. Although there are scores of scientific studies that do show the efficacy, that means the validity of hypnosis, this study decided to examine self-hypnosis delivered via audio tapes, for example, versus a hypnosis practitioner administering hypnosis. And the results were really interesting for this study. Study participants that participated regularly in hypnosis with a hypnotherapist experienced great degrees of satiety as well as weight loss, which is exactly what they wanted. However, the people that participated in the audio form of hypnosis for that study didn't experience as great of a weight loss and an effect and change as the scientists and the researchers of that study originally anticipated. So, what does that mean? Does it mean that if we're listening to one of these great self-hypnosis tracks that we have on our phones or on the TV that is ineffective? No. Here are the degrees here that self-hypnosis, or listen to audio of hypnosis, and these are the factors that could have affected that study. The degree and depth of the reason why the person is blocked psychologically, energetically, and habitually from engaging in be healthier behavior. That is a huge factor. Allow me to explain. Many women that I work with in my digital wellness practice that struggle with stress, emotional eating, food addiction, the desire to lose weight. Some ladies that I work with, their reason for binge eating, for example, could be due to a trauma. And the depth of the trauma ranges, of course, from something that if you were to recount that trauma and retell it to someone else, a complete and utter stranger, that person may say, oh, that doesn't affect me as much at all. I don't understand why that affected you. You see, all of us are different. We're all bioenergetically unique. And in that uniqueness, you need individualized, tailored attention, because what pushes you over the edge over here for someone else might not even cause a ripple. So if you're listening to a one-pronged, cookie-cutter hypnosis approach that's not tailored for your specific challenges that you've gone through in your life, then there is a high probability that it won't give you as great of an impact as you originally hoped for. Versus, and this is one thing I really like to do in my wellness practice, I like to customize and tailor make for my clients certain audio hypnosis that they can listen to. But it's with the condition of we've already cleared through all of the mental and psychological reasons that they were binge eating, that they were giving into food cravings, the reason for the behavior, the limiting beliefs that have been holding them back like a parachute strapped to their back. We've cleared through all that first. So it is more of a reinforcement. It's more of a way to keep the momentum up and the momentum going. In those instances, I imagine study participants would benefit greatly from a pre-recorded sound bath hypnosis or hypnosis. But if you're just trying to piece this together by yourself, you try to go at it alone, and you're grabbing free resources, for example, or you're reading a book and you're recording it for yourself, but you haven't had a chance to work with someone that's able to objectively see, pinpoint, and identify where the deeper work needs to be done, it's not going to get you the results that you're looking for. And that's the ticket. That's the key really for almost anything. I know in this day and age of social media, we're often, I will say this very often to people that I interact with and network with, that social media is great. It's wonderful, absolutely lovely, and it is truly a gift. How else can we sit there and reach someone across the pond instantly? I remember the days when, if you guys are walking in my boat, when you're over the age of 40, you remember the days when you made a long distance phone call and you were watching that clock, making sure it didn't go over 5 minutes because of something called roaming charges. But now you don't have to worry about that. We can communicate using social media. You don't have to pick up the phone. We can communicate via virtual video call, and we don't have to worry about roaming charges or a long distance charge or a mileage charge if you really are really vintage enough to remember. So if this is making sense to you, if the idea of you spent the time, you spent the energy to go with this alone, maybe it was because at first you really were unfamiliar about hypnosis and you just thought that you could pull some cool stuff off of YouTube, one of those great hypnosis subliminals, for example, to listen to as you drift off to sleep, and you yearned for instant change. You yearned for sustainable change, but it didn't happen. And you're tired. You're so bone and tired of the stop, the go, the feast, the famine, the standard weight loss program where maybe you have weekly calls, but if your call is on Tuesday, you know that as soon as you get off of that weight loss call on Tuesday, you can binge eat all the things you denied yourself on Monday and Sunday. But as soon as Tuesday, if you hypothetically are in a weight loss program that you're just waiting for that weekly meeting so that you can eat the food that you wanted to eat, so that you don't have to worry about your scale, weigh-in submission, you want a different way. You're tired of the feast. You're tired of the famine. You're tired of the deprivation. You're tired of running on a treadmill or going outside and doing physical activities that they just don't light you up. You're doing them because you're feeling like you have to, but it's not something that you want to do. Imagine how your life would change with individualized attention, that the person just simply seems to know exactly what it is that you need, and they're able to quickly identify as fast as I snap my fingers, as quickly as I snap my fingers, what is blocking you from sustained momentum, from the life that you truly want. Imagine being able, especially for people that are over corporate wellness programs, imagine not feeling like you have to almost herd cats or feel like you're herding cats to get your employees on your boat and on the wagon, so to speak, for your latest corporate wellness program initiative. Imagine actually having people that are elated about your corporate wellness program, doctors, MDs, anyone that's medical, in the medical industry, bariatric. Imagine instead of having conversations and trying to identify why, despite your best efforts, you really put together, nutritionists, you too, you put together this plan, you laid out all the food, you gave the recommendation, gave them the list, and they still ruptured their stitches for those that are in the bariatric field. I have spoken to tons of people that are completely dumbfounded, that they gave them all the standard procedures, they gave them the shakes, they gave them the precaution statements, and yet I spoke to one lady that her patient had ruptured her stitches less than 2 days, less than 48 hours after having bariatric surgery by putting a steak in a blender. It's not that the person didn't know. You know this. I know this. So what made them do it? It is the subconscious mind jumping in and hijacking the story that you are trying to build for yourself. Wouldn't it be nice to be at the helm? Wouldn't it be nice for all of us to collaboratively work together to help our loved ones, our clients, our patients really construct the true story that they want for themselves? And I'm not just talking about weight loss here, because it sprinkles over into so many areas. And there's so many areas that are influencing your efforts to lose weight and get healthier. The key is to find out what works individually for you and custom tailor a plan with a lot of love, a lot of attention, also still backed by scientific evidence. So if this is sounding like what you're missing, then I highly recommend you just go ahead and text Hypnosis on over to the number that is featured at the bottom of the screen. It's 601-8510, or you guys can look me up on edibleaddiction.com. All right, the Dr. Grant Show, we are on live Wednesdays at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. We have a special edition here on Saturday at 9 a.m. We're only on Saturdays at 1 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And definitely make sure, if this is resonating with you, share this with someone that you know has really been struggling. They keep trying to lose weight, they keep trying to get healthier, and they can't seem to exactly unlock that code. And don't know why. I lost my mother to obesity and food addiction. I watch my mother struggle. This is the reason why I do what I do. This is the reason for the Dr. Grant Show. I saw my mother struggle, and it wasn't just about looking at the scale. The scale plays such a small part of it. Fighting with a number on the scale is like fighting a ghost, because you haven't truly identified what's really the problem, what's wrong. I saw my mother fight relationships. My mother was married 4 times. I saw my mother fighting with her self-esteem and her image. I saw my mother trying to portion control, but the taste of the food overtaking her and her binge eating. I saw my mother being silent in meetings at her job where she had great ideas, but she was afraid to say anything because she was so concerned that people would see the heaviness of her weight instead of the golden idea and the weight of that idea. How many employees how many times have you possibly sat up there and you wondered about an employee that seemed to be so brilliant, but they just didn't speak up in meetings? How many times have you perhaps stayed silent and it was right here, caught in your throat, but you were too shy, too concerned to say anything because you didn't want them to, as you were talking, be looking at your arms or looking at your stomach, so you stayed silent. Imagine no longer staying silent. Imagine feeling not just comfortable, but imagine feeling empowered. Imagine feeling at peace in your own body and moving forward and opening your mouth and sharing the ideas that you have. These are gifts that are buried within us that I enjoy helping coax out of the people that I work with in my digital wellness practice, and even during our workshops that we have in our VIP days. I can go on and on about the science behind hypnosis, showing that it does have clinical efficacy in scientific trials. I can go on and on about success stories with people that I've worked with, but I only have so much time. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching the Dr. Grant Show. Once again, my name is Dr. Kirsten Grant. I can be found on edibleaddiction.com. I am the president of Phoenix 6 LLC. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon.